Well, Melissa Tichy is here from the Money Desk. So, Melissa, what's our social media activity saying about our sentiments towards various retailers?
Well, Andy, it's actually quite telling. Most of us has made a bad or good comment of our shopping experiences online. While PwC, together with Data EQ, have tracked over 1.5 million social media posts relating to retailers and categorized them as either positive or negative. Nick Ray from Data EQ joins us now for more. Good evening, Nick. Thank you for joining us. You conducted this research and analysis on over 1 million social media posts. Why did you choose social media? What were you looking for?
Well, that's what our business does, which is mine online conversation and trying to help businesses understand what consumers are saying about them. But the fact that there's 1.5 million South Africans taking to Twitter every year to talk about their experience with retailers demonstrates why it's such a valuable data set. These are consumers sharing their real-time experiences, whether they are about operational complaints or good service they receive from a cashier. So it's a very valuable data set. The challenge is to actually make sense of it because of the high volume. So we use a lot of artificial intelligence to try structure the data so we can accurately tell what consumers are feeling towards their favorite grocery retail brand.
So customer service remains a big point of contention in South Africa's retail sector. Do you find that social media posts on customer service are a more effective way for the consumer to resolve certain service matters?
In general, yes. Certainly if you're trying to get hold of your bank, I think the banks have put a lot of effort into social customer service. I think the retailers are quite far behind. The new delivery and e-commerce services that many of the retailers have launched since the pandemic has driven a lot of social media volume because those are digital services that consumers usually engage with via an app. And so it's a different kind of experience and connection between the consumer and the retail brand. And that has put pressure, I think, on the traditional customer service channels that the retailers offer, for example, the contact center or speaking to a manager or a cashier in branch.
So you have scored various retailers, but it does look like Woolworths came out on tops. Why Woolworths?
Well, Woolies did really well in the study. They were about 15% better than the industry average when it came to consumer sentiment. And they were actually top of the 3 main categories that we looked at, which was pricing, product quality, as well as the customer service. And they had the best sentiment in all 3 of those categories. Consumers really praised their product quality and particularly their house brands. From a pricing perspective, they had some very good partnerships, as well as good, well-timed promotions on everyday goods. So despite Woolies perhaps being seen as a premium retailer, consumers engaged very positively with their pricing strategy. And then finally, they had less complaints about customer service than the other retailers. So they were still in net negative territory when it came to customer service, but quite a bit better than the industry average. And they even had quite a lot of praise for their cashiers and floor staff, which helped drive their better than industry score when it came to customer service.
Nick, let's look at power cuts. Retailers are taking strain. Do you think customers are understanding of that? Or are the customers' expectations even higher? Because we all feel the impact of power cuts and high inflation. Why shouldn't we be able to take it out on our favorite retailer?
I actually think it's more that customers have been quite understanding and appreciative of the investments and efforts retailers have made to keep their stores lights on and their fridges cold. And so in the data, we didn't see a major load shedding and power cuts being a major driver of complaints towards retailer. It actually drove quite a lot of positivity as consumers recognized the challenges the retailers were taking on. However, there was a lot of complaints around spoiled food. And that obviously was driven by power supply issues within the cold chain. So there were complaints focused on that food quality issue. But in general, I think consumers were appreciative of how the retailers were managing to keep things going despite very trying circumstances.
Lastly, Nick, if you take the consumer experience in all these retailers, what is still missing for them? What are our retailers not doing?
I think that the challenge here, to use some industry jargon, is creating a seamless omni-channel experience, which means that consumers, whether they engage with the retailer in the branch or via the website or via their delivery app, they can have a joined up seamless experience. And as I said, many of the retailers have rushed these delivery apps to market. And that is driving a lot of pressure from consumers around with expectations related to other app-based services like Uber, for example. So it's a different category of engagement, and I think it's created quite a lot of opportunity for the retailers who are doing it well, but also quite a lot of friction within the overall customer experience as shoppers move between app, store, and online.
Thank you so much for your time, Nick. That was Nick Ray, CEO of Data EQ.